Today I am going to I am going to explain how to display that offline page in the Angular using this service worker. So for that, what I have done, I have created this offline page, this one application offline page in Angular. So right now, if you see, if you put ng serve, the application will it will not load during the offline. It will not display anything during the offline. So you will go to this particular port to this particular thought, and if you go to this inspect network and this drop down, right, if you put this thing offline and refresh the page, it will not display anything. Okay, see, it's not displaying anything, but sometimes there is a requirement in the project to display some offline page if it application is not online, or display the application like PWA, progressive wave app. So for that, what we have to do, if you we have to like install this, this ng this particular library, progressive web app library, which I have already installed that in the application. And for the process, if you go to this Angular library, this particular website of Angular, you can see they are adding this, installing this Angular progressive web app library. And after once you install this thing, what will happen? It will it will add this thing here. It will add this ngs worker.js file in this import section of the app module. And also if you see this package.json and service worker, if you find this service worker, right, service, it have added this service worker inside that Angular service in this package.json. And it also, if you there is a JSON file added, this JSON file where you can see this, what is this, the schema name, what is the starting, this is the starting point, from where the application will load. So index of that application is index.html, and we have two type of group, asset group and data groups. So asset group is just like whatever the thing which you want to cache inside that browser, that you have to put it here. Like see here, I have done it like like for example, file, what are the files, so it will be cache, what are the like all this thing, it will be cache. These are the things which will cache in that application browser, so that when the application is offline, it will display those pages. So these are like and these are the thing which is updated after once you install the PWA. And also if you go to that angular.json, it have added this service worker here. Okay, you see it is added in this .json file, angular.json file is service worker. And what is this JSON file? So all the setting, it is added here in this angular.json. So and now if you go to this document, this Angular document, what it says, see, after installation, it will update all this thing which I already told you. It will update. Yeah, one thing also, it will also update this index.html. Okay, it has added this no script tag. Okay, so please, that it will just like intimate user to enable the JavaScript if it is not enabled through this particular tag. And after that, once you have done with this install, you have done this thing, install that PWA this library, this particular library. So after that, what you have to do, if you have, because this thing will not run on that your dev box, okay, in the development environment. And so you have to like build the application in the production mode. So what it will do, like I am building this ng build as prod. So what will happen once you build this application? It will put all this file in the dist folder. Okay. So what are the file? It will put all this file. Like for example, what are the configuration you have given here? This ngsw-config.json. So all this thing, it will put it in the dist folder. Okay. And now if you see this thing, if you go to the dist folder, you will find this ngsw worker.js file, right? And this particular file which we are pointing into that app.module, which run only in the production mode. You see, ngsw, we are pointing this particular file, which is there in that dist folder. Okay, and if you can see, this is always run in the production environment. Okay, so this thing, now our application is built, that is in production mode, and we have this, service worker .js file added in the dist folder. So the next thing, how to run that particular, because this thing, everything is, all the library JS file compile, everything is inside this dist folder. So we have to run. So for that, what I have done, I have installed HTTP server. There is a HTTP server. You can do it. You can install also HTTP server from the browser. You can install this on your local in your system, and it will run. And if you see, I am running this particular command. See, I am running this particular command. HTTP server port 8081 and this folder pointing to this folder. Okay, so it will run the application. So once I type enter, so you see this, the application is available on this particular port. So now I will go to the browser and I will just go to this, you see, okay, see why it is displaying. Okay, now we will go to the later thing. See, okay, so you see this application, this application is loading. Okay, but before that, I have done something which I will just disable for now. app.component.ts. I will come to this thing in just in 1 or 2 minutes. So control key, control C. Okay, so now I think I have to build it again. Okay, so basically if you do any changes, you have to build it again, because yeah, and then only it will affect in the dist folder, right? So I'm building it again. So give me just 1 or 2 minutes. Just it's loading. Okay, this is done. Okay, this is done. So once I see again, I will refresh this thing. And now if you see, this application is like, it's okay, it's working, no throttling. You see there is no throttling, right? So it is an online application, it is online mode. But once you put offline, still this application will load. Okay, you see this is offline, right? But still it is loading, right? So why it is happening? It is happening due to this, service worker progressive web app. Okay, so we are fetching all this thing from that you see this ngs worker.js, right? So everything is coming from this ngs worker.js file. Okay, so it's fetching all the detail from that js file from the service worker, which is nothing but which is registered here. If you go to the application, you see here, right, ngs worker is registered here, and in the cache we have registered all those file which is there in this particular JSON file. Where is this JSON file? This ngsw config.json file. So all the cache thing is here stored in this particular cache section, which we have put it here in the JSON ngsw.json file. So all this thing is cache, and when it is offline, see right now it is offline, right? You see this service worker offline, checkbox is offline. So once you refresh, still it is loading. Okay, but sometime what happened, there are some requirement, right? In some application there is some requirement to display offline page. Don't display that, so what you will do? So to display that offline page, we have to just, there is a code. Okay, so you see there is a this particular code, right? Control key, control and comment. See, there is a navigator object. So through this navigator object, and there is an online property of that navigator object, it will tell you like whether the application is online. If it is online, it will true. If it is offline, it is false. So now, so we are checking that if it is offline, we are displaying this offline page. Okay, we have created one offline component See, we have created an offline component here where this thing, okay, you can put it anything inside this, but here right now we are just putting in that offline works something, some text, and we are displaying if it is offline. So that way we can display the offline page, and I'm just created a router for that offline inside this module. You see this, right? This, yeah, this is the router which I have created, which is pointing to the offline component, and which I am displaying on inside this app.component.ts. So now, so what will happen? It will, like, offline, it will route to this particular offline component. So we will get an offline page. So in that case, we can tell the user, okay, your application is offline. So in that we can display the message, and which is really a good thing. So now for that, because we have done some code changes, so we have to save it here, and we have to save it, and we have to just build it again. Okay, build it in production mode. Ng build dash prod. So it will build again the application. So it takes some few few seconds. So in meantime it build, like, so this application, like, it will build it, or you can display the offline, which is okay. Now I think it is built it. So now I will run it in the HTTP server. So application is offline. Now I will put it here. Just refresh the page. Okay, sometimes if not come, what you have to just open the browser, or close the browser or something, open a new tab. Okay, so right now, see, it is no throttling mode. It's everything is fine, and the service worker is registered here. All the things is inside the cache here. Okay, so if we go offline, see what, see, you see this, we are getting offline works, right? Here you can display any pages, like anything, according to your requirement. But the main thing is, like, we are getting offline, right, page for that. So in that way you can display offline page to your application. And also, like, that is the one way you can create a component. You can also create a static page, and you can call it through the window.application, window.location.href, and it will point it to that particular location page. So these are the ways through which you can display offline page to application. I hope I think you understand what this topic, and it will help you in the future. So that's all. Thanks for joining.